going on, guys? This is Adam here from V-Speed Garage, and today we are going to try and fix my broken fuel gauge on my 1987 Audi Coupe GT. Should be pretty easy, but who knows? It may or may not work. Let's find out. First thing we have to do is get into the fuel tank area and actually remove the sending unit, which I think is going to be the problem. I had this car die, or the battery died while it was sitting in storage here over the winter. I did start it a few times and got some fuel in it and things like that, but just had it die last week really, before I went and got it inspected and the tint removed from it. You'll see that that's actually not on here anymore. The window tint's all gone, other than the back window, which I think actually makes the car look a little bit better, more original. But the fuel gauge showed signs of life after I jumped it with a little booster pack, and hoping that it's still going to be functional and we can save it with just some simple tools. So we are going to pull the sending unit out of the gas tank, which is located right here in the trunk. It's very easy to get to. And then these are gonna be the supplies. We got our plastic bucket. We'll put the sending unit in. We've got rust dissolver to help clear off some of the oxidation, which I think is gonna be the issue, some brake clean, and some Scotch-Brite scuff pads, which I think should be enough to get that fixed up. Let's get it removed here. All right, so it's pretty straightforward. Usually these clips are kind of clamped onto this metal bit right here. But this is the sending unit, literally right here on the fuel tank. And fuel tank is in the trunk, which is not something that you'd see on modern cars. But basically what we're trying to do is just spin this bit around. I'm trying to remember how I did this. I think it required just having these in here sideways. I've got chisels instead of screwdrivers right now. There we go. It's only about a quarter turn, really not too bad at all. And you do want to get this out of here. Also might want to grab some blue towels or shop towels, just to ensure you're not leaking all over the place. But does look like possibly we've got some significant corrosion around there. You should probably wear gloves while doing this as well. Make sure you don't lose the gasket that goes on the top of this. And there's your sending unit, and you can see here just how much this is corroded and oxidized. And I'm trying to see if there's any wires that need to be resoldered. It does look like the solder is still good. It probably could be reflowed, but what I'm going to try and do is clear off this oxidation using our rust dissolver and Scotch-Brite scuff pads, and I'm going to try and get that to have better continuity, which I think is the problem right now. And then you're probably going to want to keep the trunk open to get the exhaust fumes out, or maybe have something to cap off that opening in the fuel tank. But we've got this out now, and let's get to work right here. All right, so we've got our bucket, and this is mostly just so we don't get stuff all over the ground. But we are gonna wanna probably hit this with some brake clean first. Probably should be wearing a mask as well. And you could use some electrical parts cleaner for this as well. I'll let this go. And I'm gonna grab some shop towels. But basically the problem was this reading is perpetually empty, and it is not empty. The tank is essentially full. I just put 4 gallons in it just a little while ago, to top it off, and it was only 4 gallons down, and it was reading as empty. And when it died, it just jumped up all the way to full and then back down to empty. So we're taking the Scotch-Brite, trying to get off this oxidation, which you can see is coming off. Basically what we need to do is get in here, and this stuff is what we need to get off. Down in here where it makes contact, we might actually be able to pull out the post. No, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. And this is all sealed up here. So we're just trying to clean off the contacts where everything is touching. All right, mask and gloves on, and we are ready to get back to work. This is probably drip dry a little bit. Go Bills, by the way. It's really just this section of it, which is already looking a bit better. Just need to keep at it with the so this feels, or it looks maybe a bit corroded down on here. So we're trying to get those contacts all cleaned up. And there may be a way, yes. So we can take that off. And then this should, in theory, be able to pop out. Okay, so that's out. Set that guy there. Now we got the swing arm here, which is only, yeah, there you go. There's quite a bit of corrosion on that. That's all corroded. We can probably, this is all welded in. We can probably clean that off now. That had a lot of stuff on it. And we'll get this guy out of here. You can see this is kind of darkened in here. I think all we really need to do is get this kind of burned on corrosion off of here. Now you can see it's shining up quite a bit. Just got to be delicate. Don't push too hard. We're getting this all cleaned up. We'll rinse it with the stuff that we need, and we'll also want to get this guy cleaned up big time. So that does come off. It was at this moment he knew what was wrong. I see. This is actually broken, and I think that's our problem. Broken contact right there. So we'll get that back together, and I think this will work. We just got to get, we'll have to get a soldering gun down in there. Kind of clean it up a bit. And we may have to desolder this to get it out. Pop that out, fix it. And then hopefully it all lines back up. But that is a huge discovery. That could literally be the issue. It could be all that. So that's a massive discovery just by taking it apart. Okay, so I ended up getting a Weller soldering kit. It's about 20 bucks at the local hardware store. And we're gonna try and get this all fixed up now. So I'm gonna start by desoldering this area here. And that is what connects to this, which needs to be resoldered back on. You can see, if we look real closely, it is broken off there at the joint. So we're gonna connect it back together and then put everything assembled again, and we'll put it back in the fuel tank. I have pretty much ruined this piece. Nothing seems to want to solder together, and this is a very brittle part. It oxidized so much that it's just worn down to such a thin piece, and putting heat through it and trying to bend things has just caused it to crack and break. So I have to go get a piece of copper and try and cut a pattern using some tin snips that is going to be essentially the same shape, and we should be able to put that in and then solder it hopefully back to this connection. All right, so I got a piece of aluminum which should do the job for what we're trying to do here. It might be slightly more conductive than brass, but this is painted on one side, so I've got to sand it off, I think. So that is our new part. Should work pretty well. Just gonna have to create this hole in the middle, which we'll need a drill for. All right, so we are gonna put this back together. Pretty easy. Pretty good like that, and then we'll have to run this guy back through. Basically just drops down in. We're gonna have to get it through that brand new part. There we go. That's in, and then snap it down into the plastic just like so. So that's locked in place. We've got our new part in there, which appears to be making contact, which is good. And then got to put this post back in, which basically just gets shoved in there, and then that makes contact with this. And we've actually got, I think this is spaced out a bit more from that aluminum sheet, so we're making contact pretty securely on both sides. I could feel a bit more resistance at this point, which is nice. Let's make sure, kind of work it, make sure it's all running the way it should. That seems a bit smoother right there if we rotate that back around. And so that is everything. That is everything put back together. Now the main thing left to do is just test it. This should be fine. So let's throw it back in. Do not forget that. Some fresh gas. Gotta get the teeth in the right spot. About there. So this needs to be on the right hand side. That's gonna sit down like that. Grab your screwdriver or tool of choice and rotate a bit. There you go. And we're back in. All right, so it's figuring things out right now, and we're gonna go for a little test drive, see how this all works out, if it's gonna update, if moving it around kind of side to side will get this to adjust, because right now it's still saying about 1/4 of a tank, which is probably not the case, but let's see. I might go fill it up actually. float in the wrong part of the tank. The tank feels almost segmented, which is interesting. So it says 140 miles. Now it says it's getting closer to half a tank. You can see there, and then the range is saying 155. Which after I kind of reset the float, seems to have fixed some things. You can see it just went up a bit more. It's a lot closer to half the tank. All right, we are here at the gas station and it is saying nearly full, 335 miles of range. Don't think it's fully accurate, but we're gonna top off on fuel and see what it says. All right, we just topped off. It took about 5.6 gallons of fuel. And let's see what it's saying. Well, it says just about full. That's within the reasonable margin of error for a car this old, and also for a car that has just been repaired and probably still hasn't figured everything out yet. So I'm quite happy with that. And hope you guys enjoyed the video. Got a couple more small things to do. We got to detail the whole thing. I got to fix a dent that's on the right side that was on the car when we got it. But other than that, all the mechanical stuff is working. Got to charge the air conditioning. That's another thing too. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you like, please hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and tune in for more coming up soon.